You are absolutely limitless. There is nothing that you can't have, that you can't experience, that you can't be, unless you say so. Hi, everyone. It is Brittany, and today I am going to be sharing an incredible success that I had with one of my clients. This is a redo. I'm going to refilm it again, and I'm doing this because so many people were shocked at this success story, and I really am just doing it to remind you guys of what is possible for you. So I had a client that I had worked with several times before, but at this time, she booked a call with me. And when we had the session, she had already had this experience. So basically, what was happening was she had a legal issue, basically, and it ended up going to court, even though she really didn't think that it would. So as she was in court, she said she was in a good place. She was getting very, very clear with where her thoughts were. She was making sure that no unfavorable thoughts were coming up. And if they were, she was getting right on top of them and flipping them and saying, nope, this is how it's going to be. Everything's fine. But she was like, to be honest, I just really wasn't that worried. I honestly just felt like it's all going to be okay. But it didn't turn out that way for her. So she was thinking she's going into this court case where it's just going to be fine. It's going to be dropped, or, it'll be okay. But what ended up happening was she was found guilty. And she was shocked. She said her lawyer was shocked. But this guilty verdict came with a very hefty fine that she was going to have to pay. So as I said, when we had the session together, she was pretty upset. Not only about the fine, she had a vacation that she was supposed to be taking with her girls, her children. And she was just like, I don't think I'm going to be able to take the trip anymore. But it's not even so much that. Really what it is that it has completely shaken my faith in all of this. And she's like, I'm really starting to doubt who I am. And we said, okay, let's just relax for a second and talk about this. So basically what she had said was, after this happened, I started having all of these thoughts of, look, you can't even do this. If you aren't right about this, you thought you were in the right place. You had, you felt comfortable. You felt confident. You decided that it was going to go the way you wanted it to go, and it didn't. How are you going to manifest your SP? Like, how are you going to manifest more money? How are you going to manifest all these other things that you want if you can't even do this and you can't even do it well? Like, you failed at this. And so I was like, okay, first of all, I understand all of those thoughts and those worries and those fears, but I want to remind you of something. This experience where you had a guilty verdict does not reflect your ability to manifest. And she was like, well, I mean, but I don't get it. Why would this happen if I decided that it wasn't going to happen? And I said, I don't know exactly where you were. I don't know exactly what you did. But the point I'm trying to make is all possibilities are available to you. And because of who you are, everything, you exist in all possibilities and all realities and all experiences. It's absolutely possible for you to experience things that you would deem as unfavorable. And just because you believe you decided and it didn't happen in the way you wanted it to happen, doesn't mean that you're actually doing anything wrong. What matters is the way that you choose to look at this experience. So she was like, okay, so like not accepting this as final. And I said, well, that's one way. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. You don't have to accept it as final. Absolutely. I don't want you to accept it as final. But even bigger than that, even if you did accept it the way that it was, you choose to see that somehow, some way, this is benefiting you because of who you know yourself to be. And so we started talking about our true nature and who we really are here. And she said, you know what? I'm feeling a lot more calm. I'm feeling a lot more confident. And even though I have this fine to pay and I have this guilty verdict on me now, like, I just feel a little bit calmer about everything because I do know who I truly am. I do believe that this is who I am. I do know myself to be one with the I am. And I can absolutely allow my thoughts to just be. I can absolutely allow my feelings to just be. And I said, yes, of course you can. Because first of all, remember, you aren't the thoughts. You aren't the feelings. Those thoughts and feelings are occurring in an illusion, a body that truly isn't there. It doesn't exist. So it's not about trying to fight against something that's going on in this character, you know? It's not about that. It's about recognizing that you aren't the character and you never were. So you don't need to fix thoughts and feelings and experiences that are going on within someone or something that isn't you. So she said, okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And to be honest, I don't know if she really, truly, was grasping what I was saying at that moment, but she was feeling a lot of peace. She was feeling a lot better about the situation. And she said, okay, I'm just going to accept this as one possibility, but I'm going to choose to know that who I am always has my back. And I specifically remember her saying, I am has my back. My world always takes care of me by understanding that it's God. It's all God. So she felt comfortable with that. And that was it. We ended the call. And yeah, I wasn't expecting to hear from her right away. But over the weekend, I had seen that she booked with me again for Monday. And I was like, oh, wow. Well, maybe she just wants some clarification, or I don't know, maybe she has another question. So in any case, when I get on the call, I can tell visibly she is shaken, and it wasn't in a bad way. She was just freaking out, and she was like, okay, I am freaking out. I don't know where to even start, but let me tell you what happened. She was like, I shifted. I 100% shifted. So basically what happened was, as I said to you guys before, she was going to have to pay a really hefty fine for this guilty verdict. And she was going to go to the courthouse on Monday. Okay, wait a second. Hold on. So I'm thinking our appointment must have been on Tuesday, because when we had this session, she had already gone to the courthouse. So she was going to the courthouse on Monday then. And she went to go basically pay the fine. And she had to also pick up her paperwork. Now, when she was in court, she had some paperwork that, had to be done. And her lawyer had her sign in 3 different places on this paper, on this guilty verdict, basically just signing to admit her guilt, to say that, yes, she's accepting the guilty verdict, and that's it, signed and dated. And when she went to the courthouse to go pay the fine and pick up those papers, she was pulling her money out, and they asked her, oh, why are you handing money? And she's like, oh, well, can you tell me how much the fine is? I'm not exactly sure how much I need. And so I guess the woman, the clerk at the courthouse, was like, no, hun, you don't have to pay. You don't pay for an acquittal. You only pay for a guilty verdict. And my client was just like, come again? Like, what's going on here? What are you saying? And she was like, well, you had an acquittal, so you don't have to pay anything. You just have to take your papers. You just have to get the paperwork and take it with you. That's it. She was like, everything's taken care of. You're good. And so my client walked away just in complete shock, of course, but also really feeling like, oh my God, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I feel like I'm getting away with something that I'm not supposed to be getting away with. But she's like, I just left and I was trying to gather myself and like really, really understand what's happening. So she said, when I went to look at the paperwork, Brittany, this is where things are really getting weird here. So like I told you, I had signed those papers, right, on the guilty verdict. And I said, yeah, of course. And she was like, well, this new set of paperwork that apparently was my acquittal paperwork has my 3 signatures on it as well, that I know for a fact I did not sign. She's like, I read everything that I signed and it was a guilty verdict packet. I did not sign an acquittal packet. And I said, yes, you did. And she was like, oh my God, I don't even know what to say. And I said, look, this is what I'm telling you. From this identity, you signed it. But you can't see that from your previous identity because your previous identity didn't. That's all that it is. That's all that's going on. Remember, you exist in all experiences and all realities. So yes, you did sign it. You signed the guilty verdict and you signed the acquittal verdict and everything in between that. You were there for all of it, but you can't remember that from your perspective that you're looking at things through. So she was just like, it's absolutely unreal. And even bigger than that is that she had told me in the session before that where she lives, so she lives in a different country than I do. I'm in the US and she's in a different country. And so she was like, so this was the thing she was struggling with before. She was like, in my country, this is not something that happens. They don't just change a verdict. They don't overturn a verdict. That's an impossible thing. Like that just doesn't happen here. And everyone knows that where I live. It's just a known thing. And so she's like, when I had originally called my friends to tell them that I was guilty and that was the verdict that I received, they were like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is absolutely unreal. We can't believe this. We can't believe that they would give you a guilty verdict. Basically reflecting everything that my client was feeling. Absolutely. But the funny thing is that after she received the acquittal papers and she called to tell her friends that, oh my God, they changed the verdict to an acquittal, because she was like, I wasn't going to explain it in any other way. Her friends were like, okay, good. Well, we're so happy about that. Yeah. And she's like, but are you guys not shocked about that? Like, this is not how things are done. And her friends were all just like, well, no, this kind of thing does happen, And she's like, Brittany, no, I'm telling you, this is not something that my friends would ever have said before. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And so I'm like, that's why I'm telling you, they're always reflecting you. They're just playing a role for you to support who you see yourself as. That's all that's ever happening. So when you guys always ask me like, oh my gosh, but what if this person says this? What if this person says that? What if they remember what happened if I revise something and they remember? All they're ever doing is playing a role for you to support your role and who you say that you are. So you don't ever have to worry about that. It doesn't matter. So she was just like, oh my gosh. And the last thing that I want to say to you is that I am so happy that at our last session, you told me that the thoughts don't matter, because she was like, after I received that paper with the acquittal on it, I was just feeling so incredible, so amazing, so like, oh my God, I really am this powerful. I really am limitless. And she's like, and then like a little while later, the thoughts started coming in again, like, no, there's a logical explanation for this. This would have happened anyways. And she was like, I just started bursting out laughing because I was like, oh my God, Brittany told me that this would happen. And what I'm referring to is she was really concerned about the thoughts that she was having before. And she was just like, if I can't stop these thoughts, how am I ever supposed to get what I want? And I said, you're never going to be able to stop those thoughts. And she was kind of like, concerned for a minute. And I said, you're not here to stop the thoughts. Why do you need to stop thoughts that are coming from a character? Why do you need to stop feelings or trying to force yourself to feel a certain way when it's occurring within an illusory character? And so she was like, yeah, that's a good point. You're right. You're right. So I said, please stop worrying about the thoughts and the feelings. And then at this second session where she shared this success with me, she was like, there is something that I am a little bit confused about, because I had a deep, deep belief that it is absolutely impossible that once you receive a verdict, whatever it is, it will not be changed, because that's just the way that it is where I live. And she said, why didn't that belief stop me from having this experience? Because she was like, I never tried to change that belief. And I said, here's the thing. That belief is taking place in one character, in one identity, in one storyline. So it's not about changing the belief. Now, yes, if you actively have a belief that is being brought to your attention, in that moment, recognize that that is not true for you. That is not who you are, because who you are is I am. So yes, if you recognize a belief that is not serving you, that is contradicting who you know yourself to be, yeah, absolutely realize that it's not real. Can't be true. But other than that, you don't have to go looking for beliefs. And no, beliefs on their own cannot stop you from having an experience that you want to have if you go beyond the belief. Go beyond thoughts, go beyond feelings, go beyond beliefs, and go straight to the truth. Go straight to the source of who you are. When you're in that awareness, when you're accepting that this is who you are, all of those other things really are irrelevant. Because again, those are all taking place in the human character. And those things are always changing. Beliefs change all the time based off of our experiences, right? Thoughts and feelings are constantly changing all the time. Those things are not solid things that you can hold on to. So it's not about any of that. It's about recognizing that those are all aspects of the human experience, absolutely, but they are not who you are. So when I talk to you guys about recognizing your true nature and identifying with that and allowing everything to essentially fall into place for you, that doesn't come with you having to fix and change your belief systems. Try to pick a new assumption or try to fix your thoughts or try to flip them or try to heal. None of that stuff. So when I'm telling you, go to the truth of who you are, recognize who you really are here, that is what I'm talking about. We're going beyond all of the human experiences and going to our true self, I am. And because I am everything, because I exist in all things, all possibilities, all experiences, because I am reality itself. I am the authority here. I am absolutely limitless. I am absolutely limitless. This is what I'm choosing to experience. From this understanding, from this foundational understanding. From there, you can just allow everything. Allow the thoughts to be there. Allow the feelings to be there. Allow the beliefs to be there. While recognizing that none of those are you. None of those are true for who you really are. So you're allowing them all to be there without attaching yourself to them, without making them mean anything about you. And when you can do that, all of that stuff becomes irrelevant. And you really just start to choose whatever it is that you want to experience and allow it to happen for you in the most beautiful way. And again, what she did to have this experience was not revising it, was not trying to convince herself that really she was never guilty. It was none of that. What she did was let herself have the feelings, let herself feel what she was feeling, but then chose to remember who she really was here and chose to recognize her thing that she liked to say was that my world takes care of me. My world takes care of me. So I know that all of this is going to be perfectly fine. I know that it's all going to work itself out. And I don't have to figure out how it will. I don't have to figure out when. I don't have to figure out what will happen. I just have to know that it will. And it happened in such a beautiful way. So I really hope that this guy, or that this was helpful for you guys. And I really just wanted to share this again because I want you to understand what is truly possible for you. And even this experience, while absolutely incredible, it's nothing out of the ordinary for who you really are. You know, it's not anything crazy. We're doing this all the time. But the experience that she had really, really helped show her that you don't have to worry about all of these things. You don't have to worry about how it's all going to get resolved. That's not your problem. That's not up to you. So take your attention away from those things and focus on the truth of who you are and allow it to be expressed to you in the most beautiful way. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope that this was helpful for at least one of you. I know it will be. If you guys have any questions about this or about anything, please leave it below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for being here with me. I love you all so, so, so much, and I will see you soon.